So, since we did, like, the before interview, when you guys first started campaigning, now I just kind of wanted to do an after interview. So, first of all, I just wanted to talk to you, like, what was your strategy going into Tuesday and Wednesday when elections were starting to just make sure that your whole ticket got elected?
I think just like Kevin said after the election results, just campaigning as a ticket and kind of branding that name and making sure everyone knows what T-emoji is and kind of, unfortunately, throwing it in their face every 5 seconds and just not really saying vote for Charlotte Ridgeway, but saying vote T-emoji. And if anyone asks, I don't say my specific name. I say I'm running on a ticket with these whole people. So just constantly keeping everyone in mind and mentioning everyone else's initiatives when you mention your own, and just making sure everyone knows that we have some cohesion going into this and there's a reason we chose each other.
Mm-hmm. And what were your expectations going into the election? Like, obviously the chances of getting a whole ticket elected were pretty low going in. So were you expecting your whole ticket to get elected, or were you kind of expecting it to be split either way?
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things that you just have no idea. And obviously we hope for the best. And as much as I love everyone else on the ticket, we just have such strong bonds on my ticket that we were just hoping and praying that that's how it would be. And I don't want to say lucked out, because that I don't want to downgrade any of the work that my ticket and myself did. But it was definitely a shock to us, to everyone. It was just one of the most competitive years I've seen here at Towson. So definitely surprised, of course.
So now that you guys get to sit together next year, what kind of advantage do you think that gives you when you're trying to complete all your initiatives?
Well, we already have all these in mind, and knowing that we don't have to work on our bonding or any like personal interactions and relationships between each other. We can just kind of get straight to work, and we don't really have to focus on getting to know each other and our work ethics. So it's definitely helpful, and we already know what everything we're doing and how to start, because we've been talking about it for so long. So it's not really, all the discussions have already happened. So it's just, we don't really have to waste any time.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the initiatives that you personally have, not like as a full ticket, but just you?
I think my biggest thing is the financial advisor, and trying to work with the bursar's office and figuring out, because there are some advisors accessible to students. So as soon as I can, try to focus on how to get that to be more well known, maybe talk to them, figure out how to increase that. So I think that's going to be my personal initiative to at least start off the year with.
And what kind of gave you the motivation to think about that as an initiative, like something that you wanted to accomplish?
I think it was just, I knew so many people that were lost after college and had no idea. I mean, I'm going to graduate and I have just my parents, and some people don't even have that. So it's like just giving someone a resource after graduation is something that people don't even necessarily have a resource during their college experience. So just, personal experience, hearing stories, and we were kind of trying to figure out ways to save people money, and that was kind of like our big thing throughout this whole campaigning process.
So next year is going to be the first year with the new student group policy, with them going through student activities instead of SGA. So what kind of how do you think that changes the role of SGA at Towson now?
I think we will still have all the budgeted groups, which is a large majority. You can tell by the budget hearing days when it takes all day just to do those groups. So we'll still have to approve the constitutions of the groups that want to be budgeted. So we're still going to have a process of writing the constitutions and following policies and stuff like that. I think it's just kind of focusing on the role of Attorney General and maybe giving them more tasks to do, because their role has completely changed through that process. But, they have the justices, they have the Prove It Fund, so there are other ways to have them be active in SGA and really have a purpose on this campus.
Mm-hmm. And being vice president this year in SGA, what are some of the things that you think that you've learned from being vice president that you can apply to next year?
I think just how to interact with administrators. It's something I didn't necessarily have as a senator past emails. So I've just made so many connections and meeting people. I met a bunch of people in the admin building yesterday, and it wasn't even necessarily meeting them. It was just kind of be like, hey, remember me? Now I have a different position. So it's just kind of like I already have that to go forward with, and already being able to just have these conversations started and have these relationships, and that's definitely going to be really helpful in the upcoming year.
Mm-hmm. And something that was talked a lot about between all the tickets, and I think Kevin talked about it too, but it was like the increased communication of SGA with students. So where do you think that ranks on the priority list of SGA? Like, do you think it should be like a governing body first, or do you think that it needs to be like that outlet for students first?
I think definitely an outlet for students, because there's nothing for us to govern. There's no legislations to write if we don't have problems that the students come to us with. So I think just the fact that we are such a friendly and outgoing and extroverted exec board, and if you look at the Senate, all those people as well, that's really going to be beneficial in communicating with students because we have all divisions of campus covered already just going into this next year on top of all the new people that will be added in. But definitely a top priority, and it was really nothing without the communications and the messenger between the students and the administrators and all that sorts of stuff.
Okay, well, that's really all the questions I have for you.
Okay.
But is there anything else that you'd like to add that you would just like students to know about you going into next year?
No, I'm just very excited and very flattered that the students saw that our ticket had the capability of making things happen, and knowing that I have full confidence in everyone that has been elected this year. And even though the people who haven't been elected, I know that they'll do amazing things, and they're all so overqualified for every position they've ever held. And I know that just they're going to do great things until they graduate and even beyond then.
Okay.